The Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our ServiceNow series, where we interview the best and brightest of the industry to share their story, advice, and views on the exciting world of ServiceNow and digital transformation.
You're listening to the Alldus podcast ServiceNow series. Our guest today is Tarek Shamounki. Tarek is the US public sector leader at ServiceNow. Welcome to the show, my friend. It's been a long time coming, this one.
Thank you, JP. Actually, US public sector for the partners. I just want to make that clear.
Yes, yeah, indeed. My apologies. Yeah, so we've been talking about getting you on the show for a while now. Delighted we finally got you here. As we do all of our guests, let's start with yourself. Could you give us a little summary of your background in technology and what your journey has been, some of the roles you've held along the way, and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so I've been in the US public sector space for quite some time. I've done also a little bit of work in global public sector in the past. Prior to ServiceNow, I would say most of my career was around the Microsoft ecosystem. I was working for an ISV called AvePoint, where I built and ran their federal business. I was their SVP of federal sales, running that business. I started off as an enterprise sales rep, and as you're successful and you do very well in that role, you get promoted. So I went through all those cycles, and at that company, I spent about 10 years there. But that experience there as an ISV of Microsoft, we started as one of the largest supporting backup and recovery and governance for SharePoint, and then grew into Office 365, and then became one of the largest in the Office 365 governance and compliance space. Translated into really great relationships as a partner to Microsoft, and being able to support Microsoft, and at one point even winning Microsoft Federal Partner of the Year. With all of the sales and alignment, and building relationships with the Microsoft leadership, including at the time with Steve Walters and Greg Myers and some of the folks that worked there. Greg was the head of Microsoft Federal at the time. So those warm relationship ended up with an opportunity to go and run the federal civilian partner ecosystem for Microsoft, where Steve Walters was at the time, and so great opportunity to do that. Great company. I worked for Microsoft for about 3.5 years when ServiceNow came knocking on my door, and with an opportunity I couldn't give up. It was to run the federal practice for our partner ecosystem. And as of last year, we expanded to not just the federal piece, but also running the U.S. public sector piece, which included U.S. Fed and state and local government and education. Yeah. So we're off to the races, and excited to keep growing the business and support all of our partners here at ServiceNow.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that context and background. It's important, and it shows the journey through working via relationships, which some of the names you mentioned, you've had that chance to work with these amazing people in more than one organization, which we'll get to a bit in a moment. But focusing on the role and responsibility that you hold in supporting the entire public sector, help us visualize what that entails. I know you've got a team of tremendous people working with you, but high level, what is the objective, and how are you working with the partner community to help them support the end customer, in this case, the entirety of the public sector?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we win if we help the customer achieve their goals, and we're really very much customer centric, and in essence, we're also very partner centric in supporting our partners in achieving that goal with them. So Bill says it always, trust is built in drops and lost in buckets. We're always focused on building that trust with our partners and aligning with how we can service our government clients. And really, a lot of that has been focused since I've been here, in shifting towards a mission focus, and understanding how our federal system integrators, our global partners, our small partners, our 8As, are helping these government agencies meet that mission. And we're trying to understand how they do work so that we can meet them where they're at, And then we were also trying to shift their paradigm to understand how we want to meet the customer's needs and understanding how we can align the cycles. So Erica Vellini's done a fantastic job creating a robust partner program that we're now aligning with, that's helping the customers see how partners are working with us, and as well as helping our field and our partners shift their paradigm to be a partner first organization. Whereas maybe historically we were selling direct and then trying to figure out how to lock that into how the partners work. Now we're actually shifting that paradigm and creating a partner first culture so that we're coming in together. It's a win-win approach to really help that customer. That three wins, right? Us, the partner, and the customer meeting their objectives around the mission.
Yeah, super helpful. You mentioned since you took the role, the scope of your responsibilities has broadened beyond just federal to now the entirety of public sector, which means state and local government up to highest levels of defense and military all falls within this bracket. A lot of variety of work, as we can imagine, a lot of different customer conversations. When you look at the success that your department and your team has had over since joining and since taking on the role, I know you might not be able to disclose too much of exact details, but what are some of the standout highlights that you've been particularly excited about, particularly proud of? You might not be able to give away anything that's classified, but share some of the things that you and your team have been working on that you're quite proud of.
Well, in the interest of not boiling the ocean, because it is a pretty broad territory, and we have a nimble team trying to support a lot. We're trying to be strategic in certain key areas with certain key partners. And we can't boil the ocean by working with all the partners. So we have to work with the partners that are invested in ServiceNow, that have made the commitments to say, okay, we're going to go in, we're going to get all the credentials, we're going to be the best in AI, we're going to do all these things. And we support these partners to get there. But the areas where we've seen a big shift, there's key partners, and I won't name names, but like there's key partners that have decided, historically have been agnostic and would have just plugged us in or plugged in a competitor, and that was the historical way of how they did things. They've shifted their paradigm to saying, you know what, actually ServiceNow is truly a one-of-one platform and is really capable of opening up all the doors across multiple silos. And by doing that, they actually have increased their potential TAM across their business. Now, they're not saying that they're ServiceNow shop all of a sudden. They're still agnostic, but they're realizing that they can do 80% or 70% of their business with ServiceNow, and they can still plug in these other competing solutions if need be. But the interesting part of that is where they've taken a platform approach for ServiceNow and realized that ServiceNow can be the modernization layer across all these different platforms, whether it's Oracle or whether it's SAP or whether it's any one of those silos. So our data fabric really creates a lot of those efficiencies. And then when you couple in all the investments we've done with RaptorDB and acceleration of all those things, these partners are realizing that they can serve their customer in a much faster, quicker way than any other technology out there. Truly a one-of-one platform. And then the other piece I would add to that is the shift in the new administration that we're seeing. It's changing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so you've heard all of us talk, Jonathan speaks about it, everybody's talking about it. That piece of it is really, truly a real-time change where we know the ServiceNow platform can scale and operate and help address all these efficiencies that the government's trying to do. So I think there's a massive opportunity where we're seeing tons of partners come and knock on our door to help open that aperture and work with us on that front.
Tarek, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I know you and I were speaking about this very point just last week, talking about how the spotlight on government efficiency actually creates a tremendous opportunity for ServiceNow within the public sector, because ServiceNow can allow from state and local government right the way up to the highest levels of military, accelerate their AI adoption, their digital transformation, which ultimately will save money, which is exciting. I want to get your take on one of the potential bottlenecks for the implementations within the public sector, which is the workforce. We spend a lot of time as a partner ourselves educating and promoting the broader ServiceNow community about the unique opportunity the unique opportunity that exists within the public sector, because if you're eligible, if you can qualify, if you can go through the clearance process, there's so much work available, so much variety. You're having conversations with partners at all levels, and also you're heavily involved in the end user discussions. What are you seeing in the demand over the next few years, and what message would you have to the broader ServiceNow community who are maybe working in the commercial private sector and haven't considered what could be possible within the public sector space?
One of the things that Bill mentioned is the millions of jobs that are going to be created with the advent of AI. A lot of people are stressing or worrying about, the cheese being moved and the paradigm shift towards AI. But the reality of the matter is, if you take a minute to reassess career goals and the opportunities, you're going to realize that even though the AI is going to change some jobs or maybe even eliminate some jobs, there's going to be so many new jobs that are being created, and some of those created on ServiceNow, right? And the ability
Yeah.
to support and work with the ServiceNow platform. And so we see our company as not only an efficiency play, but an enabler to job creation for our partners, to work on our platform to serve the mission of the customer, but also for government employees that can work and operate on technologies such as our platform, and open up new horizons, new opportunities, especially for the next generation of government workers. So right now we're going through a shift. You see the shift happening of new technologies coming in, new efficiencies coming in, new blood coming into the government. And I think, the dust hasn't settled yet, but it's when we're done with all of it, the hope and the reason I believe all this is being done is to create more opportunities with more high-paying jobs that meet the needs of the constituents, meet the needs of the states, the government, the mission across the board. And I think that is where everybody wants to go. Even though there's a lot of confusion, I think once the dust settles, it's going to be in the interest of growing and supporting the folks in the government, right? So.
Yeah, we've seen it ourselves. We've had an increased focus on the public sector for years now, and it's been amazing. It's allowed us to achieve and hit all of the goals from performance that we set ourselves. But it's also a nice place to be, because the projects that you're working on, you can start to visualize the impact it can have for the end user, whether it's a state and local government or a major branch of government. The work that's being done with ServiceNow is transforming the, the entire federal government, and it's a cool space to work with it. I want to spend a little bit of time now talking about what's next. When you look at the road ahead, there's a lot of attention on what's going to come in the next 12 to 24 months with the broader adoption of AI. When you look at the goal for your team over the next 12 to 24 months, what are you excited about? What are you guys hoping to accomplish? And when we have you back on the show in a few years from now, what will we be looking back on to say it was fun to work on X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, so I think from our perspective, with our key partners, the ones that we're really, really investing time with, the ones that have shown they're ready to invest their time with us, there's two to tango. What are the areas where we're going to build offerings that are going to meet our customers' need, the mission, right? And these offerings are key really to driving not only our products, our ServiceNow technology, but also to do it in a way that really meets the customer's needs. And so you see all kinds of things that no longer talk from the perspective of our product. It talks about the perspective of meeting that requirement. Is it a grants management solution? Is it a housing offering that takes care of people on the barracks? Is it it could be so many different things that are we're speaking the customer's language. We're not speaking a tool or product or component or a SKU. And so we're now building a lot of these offerings with these partners. And these offerings are being provided to our customers, whether through their managed service provider or they're reselling them or what have you. And that's growing very, very quickly and becoming kind of the norm of selling, which really positions ServiceNow to becoming a partner cultured organization, which we're focused on growing and enabling us to reach new heights. So when you look at a company of $1 trillion market cap, it's very much within reach when we focus on the next 5 to 10 years and supporting it through our relationships and our partnerships. And so that my focus is how do we grow our public sector business to really be driven by mission offerings in partnership with our key partners, right? And it's already happening, it's already growing. We just need to be able to be agile and be able to pivot to the environment that we're in. Today, it might be on risk reduction, or it might be on cost reduction, or whatever it is. And we would package it with our partners in a way that really meets the customer's needs and meets their budgets and their timelines as well. So there's a lot of factors in that. So this is where we're headed. All of our partner managers are working with our partners to create these kinds of solutions and offerings. And then we have our territory partner sellers working with our field to really drive that piece across the business.
So Tarek, final question, and I think this is a question you've given me advice on in the past, but speaking to the partner community who want to do more within the ServiceNow space in conjunction with the ServiceNow AEs, when you're speaking to partners and you're advising them how to be successful, what are the key pieces of advice that you give them to help them on their way?
JP, you know what's interesting is that we get a lot of interest from CEOs of smaller companies wanting to now start a ServiceNow practice. And I always tell them it's never too late. If they're serious about it, especially if they're interested in becoming a ServiceNow-centric company, which we have a few partners that started off from very small, humble beginnings to now having $100 million business with hundreds of people working for them, and very proud of it, and even in some cases achieving partner of the year status as smaller companies. Yeah. It's very rewarding to be very focused. And I would say to them, the key right now is, I mean, you saw it in our scale. It's right here, right now. We want you on this platform, one platform that pretty much the ring that rules them all, right? Yeah. And this is an opportunity for you to really focus on the ServiceNow platform, build a business on the ServiceNow platform, and take it to your customers with our support, with our backing, and really build a beautiful business. We've seen it time and time again. We have many partners that have built an entire business on ServiceNow. And there's a lot of room for more, especially with all the extra things that we're adding to our platform and all the AI innovations that are coming down, including all of the agentic AI capabilities. So
yeah, Tarek, thank you so much. I'm delighted we finally got you on here. I know we've been talking about doing this for too long now, and glad we finally got it done. Didn't disappoint. I appreciate your insight. Thanks for sharing more detail around what you and your team are doing. It has a tremendous impact to the partner community, and we appreciate the work that you do in helping us be successful in supporting the end users. So thank you very much.
You got it. Anytime. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.